Sometimes we dream of having one of your boyhood or your young girl dreams come true, and then to have two of them come true, it's remarkable.
Oh no!
Hello and welcome to another Statman Scat. This time our special guest is John Doonan, president of IMSA, and he's a buddy of mine. That makes him even more important. John, welcome.
Thanks. It's so good to see you on screen. I hope we can do it in person at a racetrack soon, but it has been too many years.
There's a guy in NASCAR down the hall from you or on a different floor, wherever it is, named Kyle Larson, who's on fire. Some people at ESPN might say he's as hot as fish grease, but we're not going to go into that. But he left for a while and he came back and he's with what might be considered the Chevrolet home program at Hendrick Motorsports. You know how much of an impact factory programs have on racing. So let's bring it back to IMSA. How is that possible that a guy could go from barely finishing races to winning 4 in a row because he's with the right factory team?
It's all about the people and the chemistry, of course, set up on the car. And then in many ways, as you know, there's an element of luck in racing. But you know what the Hendrick team has pulled off this year so far with, Chase Elliott won a race, Alex Bowman's won a couple, Kyle's obviously on fire, William Byron. So, they're putting some significant numbers on the board, and it does come down to, I think, people and chemistry. I think the other thing just about Kyle, he has spent time in the Rolex 24 in a variety of cars. Clearly he's done dirt, he's done ovals on asphalt and in sprint cars and midgets, and he's just an amazing talent. And so to have guys like Kyle in the NASCAR family, guys like Jimmy Johnson have run with us this year.
Does it help you to have these guys dip in and leave? Does it help you as a promoter? Does it help you as an organizer? Does it help you to have these guys once in a while in your racing program?
There's no question. So we have 18 manufacturers that participate. They bring drivers in from all over the world. And so, it's so important to have the cars that are the stars of our fans. So with all those 18 manufacturers, our audience really attaches themselves with their favorite brand. Whether that's the Porsches, the Ferraris, Lexus has really come on in recent years, the Lamborghinis, the Mazdas, the Cadillacs, you name it, we've got it when it comes to cars that people are passionate about. When those top talented drivers come, and either the Rolex 24 or Sebring or Watkins Glen or our finale at Motul Petit Le Mans at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta, definitely from a series sanctioning body and our event promoter standpoint, fans come also to see the stars that drive the cars. And so without a doubt, having some of those former Daytona 500 winners, NASCAR champions, Le Mans champions, recently, of course, IndyCar and Indy 500 champions running with us and winning, it definitely helps add additional momentum to what we already have around the sport.
John, it was about 10 years ago that American sports car racing was almost on life support. And it took a merger and a lot of work from a lot of people to get it back to where now people are looking at it from overseas and saying, how do we get involved in that? Do manufacturers, both domestic and offshore, do manufacturers want to see people in the stands? Do they want to see people on social media? Do they want to see other manufacturers? Do they want to see balanced rules? I know that you're going to say all of the above, but what's the number one thing that they're looking for when BMW comes in, when Porsche comes in, when Audi comes in, bringing new product, what are they looking for? Number one, what do they say? You got that, so we're coming.
Yeah, you're 100% right. They're going to say all the above. They're going to say that they are racing to hopefully sell their road car product and their brand. They definitely want to compete on track with the competing brands. They want to use it as a showcase for their either their actual nameplate or a vehicle um, uh, profile, if you will, whether it's a GT car or their powertrain.
So the
Um,
two Corvettes racing against each other doesn't do Chevrolet any good, does it?
right. So they yearn for BMW to be there and Porsche to be there and Ferrari to be there. So there's no question that they want to come and use it as a marketing tool. Um, they 100% are keen on audience. That's why our partnership with NBC has been so critical. In our social media audience across all of our channels, we're knocking on the door of just a million followers. But they all have a different set of official objectives. But I think
Mhm.
the long and the short of it is they want to be here competing with their fellow colleagues in the industry or their competing brands to put themselves in a premium place and showcase their product in the most grueling environment possible.
Some of IMSA's resurgence in the past, I don't know, 20, 30 months has come with you at the helm. The new partnership with Le Mans and the hybrid prototypes have brought in uh, BMW of late, joining Porsche and Audi. Acura re-upped to make a car for that program. They've been in the series for a while now. Uh, Cadillac is the brand of recognition here in IMSA now. Cadillac is they're not there in that list. Are they going to join it?
Well, as you know, those are announcements that the manufacturers make at their timeline, but we're hopeful to retain Cadillac in the top category since the advent of the DPI. You're 100% right. They've won more races than anybody with the Cadillac DPI. I do hope that Cadillac joins us. And based on who's been at the table, Bill, there's going to be more. People are really interested in this racing for overall wins, being able to stylize the bodywork of a prototype and be able to use an engine right out of your family, your brand engines, whether it's directly related to one of your road cars or one of your SUVs.
We're talking with John Doonan, IMSA president. We can't talk about racing. You talked about growing IMSA. That was one of the first things you said when you took over the helm. Growing IMSA. You can't talk about growing auto racing anywhere. Manufacturers want to sell cars. They don't necessarily want to win races. You can't talk about racing anywhere without talking about electrification. And we've already mentioned hybrids. How is that conversation developing in the offices there behind you?
Constantly studying the opportunities, Bill. We've got our 18 manufacturers who give us a lot of input as to where they're heading in their cycle plan of product, in their powertrain strategies. And so we're in constant contact with them, making sure that whatever we provide gives them that consistent marketing tool in their toolbox. Clearly, hybrid is the new element of our 2023 plans, but we are talking about several electrification opportunities, studying what's currently in the market. And
really, wait a minute. You can't drop that on the table, John. Give me one headline in the five things that you're talking about. Give me one of them, a little taste of what electrification is going to do to IMSA.
well, we've been partnered with the DOE, the Department of Energy, and the EPA for many years, back when I was a participant, and obviously now I'm working directly with them. And we want to constantly be relevant to what our consumers and our audience are utilizing, whether that's an alternative fuel on the street, whether that's electrification. I think the key with electrification and the folks that we're talking to, whether that's a road car based series or a prototype based electrification series, the key is to make it entertaining still. You and I are motor oil in our veins. We love the smell of brakes, and we love the smell of rubber. Our fans do as well. When people line the fences at Sebring or Road Atlanta or Daytona or Watkins Glen or Road America, they want to see a great show, and they expect to see and hear the cars competing. So we got to work on that. We got to determine how we can showcase that technology, be relevant, but also maintain an entertaining show for our fans, both on site and on television.
So that may not be incorporated in the prototypes and the GT classes. It may be a separate thing, but I would assume that the manufacturers, if they're not putting pressure on you now, that pressure is starting to build to find us a way to showcase our technology and our electric cars in the showroom.
No question. I mean, roll the clock back to the Super Bowl. I think late January, early February. The GM and Chevrolet folks and came with a strong message around electrification. Our partners at Ford, who run the Mustang with us in the GS category, they've got the Mach E and now full electric pickup trucks in the pipeline. So yes, the answer is yes. We're in constant communication with our manufacturers. The hybrid system for 23 is a step towards what may be electrification down the road. But there's all stuff in the news about hydrogen and fuel cells and again, alternative fuels that we're very aware of and want to do the right thing at the right time. I think for growth, we obviously are keen on growing our audience. The television partnership with NBC is continuing to blossom. Our social media engagements are massive. We saw significant lift in TV viewership during 2020. The other thing I think is that we can't forget, Bill, and I know you believe in this as well, we can't forget about the next generation of audience. And that is the kids, I call them kids, the 16, the 18s, the 19s, the early 20s, that we need to capture, not just in motorsport, but for the auto industry as a whole. You grew up a car guy, I grew up a car guy, and we got a bunch of friends that are car people. And I think we need to remember to be educators on the car industry and motorsport in general. We can do that. Something I did at Mazda that I'd love to bring here is a STEM program where we can go to some schools and educate the students, not just about racing. I mean, obviously the platform is racing, but showing the application of what they're doing in the classroom and how it applies, and the job opportunities in engineering, in public relations, in being an attorney in this sport that apply what you're learning in the classroom. And we did a partnership also with SECA last fall. And the impetus for that is on the next generation of race official and corner marshal. As you know, SECA and groups like that are a factory for the folks that are flagging and communicating and part of the safety crews at these races. So it's sort of a full court press approach that I think we are stewards of the sport, and we need to make sure there's a next generation to carry on what you and I both love so much.
Part of that growth, you mentioned social media. Are you going to include streaming and social media as a key part, maybe even equal to your relationship and partnership with NBC?
No question. And frankly, the partnership with NBC gave a pipeline for us to utilize their Track Pass platform. And fans the uptake of the IMSA content through NBC Track Pass was massive in 2020. Obviously, we have IMSA.com, which you can also watch live streaming on given weekends. And as we look at the landscape, obviously NBC Network, NBCSN is the primary place to watch in linear form IMSA races, but there's plenty of digital outlets. Obviously, social media is key for us. You know, linear TV, like you and I have grown up with, we got to be prepared for people wanting to sit on their phone and watch it, or on their iPad, their tablet, whatever that may be.
Anywhere, yeah.
So we got to be prepared as a sport. A lot of our social media, as you know, are digestible little shorts, videos that really draw people in, and we set the hook, and hopefully we can earn their audience attendance for life.
All right, John Doonan, IMSA president. This is the last question. Finally, after all of we've danced all over the yard here. You got some Chicago background. I asked another Chicago racer recently where he stands. Deep dish or a slice?
I don't know, man. Deep dish is hard to beat. I've been trying to cut back, but yeah, Gino's East or Giordano's, can't beat it. Although every once in a while, and you get the feeling for a little bit lighter meal, but deep dish all the way. And if you can't get your fill of that, you go have a Portillo's hot dog or a Portillo's double cheeseburger. That's my speed.
John Doonan, IMSA president. Thanks, partner. I met you when your first day at Mazda, and here you are running everything in sports car racing almost globally. It's been cool to watch it, partner.
I really appreciate it, and appreciate you and all the media helping us tell the stories. And you're a great friend. I can't wait to see you at a racetrack in person. We need to figure out how to do that sooner rather than later.